Good evening, Horror and Chaos V2 in the name of Runie Roos. Now, Runatics, welcome one another as I shall welcome you. Hi, hi. Hi. Hello. Welcome. Today we are going to be talking about Rings of Power. Thank you, Rare, for the gifted sub. Thank you. Gosh, I feel like... Hold on. Hold on. I feel like I have a weird blinky eye problem that has actually been going on for quite a while. And I keep meaning to troubleshoot it, and I think I fixed it. Let's see. Let's see if I can get rid of the random winking. You guys won't miss it, will you? Will you miss it? Wow. I'm feeling very normal about One Piece this week. Good for you, because I'm not. I feel like I'm still processing. So much happened. What? So much happened. It's okay. I'll wink for you guys on purpose now. Yeah? I don't know much about Rings of Power, and it's been like a decade since I've seen or read Lord of the Rings, but I'm so excited for tonight's double feature of Runie. Love to hear your thoughts and critiques on the things you're passionate about, Runie, so thanks for the stream. Thank you! Yeah, we can't talk about One Piece today because we've got Rings of Power to talk about, okay? As you can see, here to your right, my left, I have Valinor. And that is where we will be putting the pros. Because we're going to have a pro-con list today. And then to my right, to your left, I actually don't know where this is supposed to be. Angband? Well, it's Sauron. It's Sauron taking over after Morgoth has been defeated. Yeah, if we talked about One Piece, you know, I'd have a lot of positive things to say. I do have some pros. I have more cons, so what I've decided is to go through the cons first. And then we will visit the pros. But before we do any of that, I was thinking maybe I'll do just like a quick rundown of everything that's going on in these first 4 episodes. If you only want to hear the pros, come back and what? No! It's not. Listen, I'm keeping this to a snappy 2-hour stream because then we're going to watch the episode 5 together. Happy Thursday, Runie! Excited to see you get heated talking about this show again. Though I'm wondering if the showrunners would lock their doors for a bit after this. No, they should open their doors to me. They should open their doors to me. Because I could help them. I could help them. Okay. I say first. Wow, that picture's really big. Wow. Why are all these pictures so big? I meant to prepare pictures beforehand and then I ran out of time. So I'm very sorry that I will be like scruffly bringing up pictures. Okay, first let's just touch base with Sauron. And I'm gonna try to make this snappy, but I just wanna give you guys like a base knowledge for those of you who have not watched the show or just don't know anything. Yeah, scuff, there you go. So this is Sauron. Sauron has been disguised as Halbrand. I'm not gonna go over stuff that happens in season 1, that's too much. So I'm just gonna tell you what's happened with Sauron in season 2. So season 2 opens up showing Sauron in his fair form, but right after Morgoth is defeated, when he is taking power as the second in command. He's coming into power now that Morgoth is gone, and he's with the orcs. Except the orcs don't like him, and they're kind of like sour about it. And oh, what's his name? Why am I blanking? Well, it might be because he's too pretty, but what's the elf's name? Why am I not remembering his name right now? I'm going crazy. Adar, thank you. So Adar is there, and he clearly kind of cares about the orcs. And basically, Adar leads a rebellion against Sauron because they don't want to go to war again. They just want to have a home for themselves. So they kill Sauron, at least they think, in this like little rebellion. Then Sauron turns into Mook. And over the next 1,000 years, he slowly grows back from like little black ook. He gets bigger and bigger, a blob. He eats a rat, you know, and then he eats animals. He gets bigger and bigger. Eventually, he eats a human. Near the end of the 1,000 years, he finally regains his human form, and now he looks like Halbrand. Then they go back a little bit of his like season 1 journey, but from his perspective. So you see how he actually found the emblem that made it look like he was a king from the Southlands, and he stole it from that person, and how he met Galadriel, and how the wheels started turning for his devious plan. Now flash forward, they've just finished the war that Adar actually won in the Southlands. Mordor has been created. The Southlanders are being herded by the orcs. And so Sauron pretends still to be Halbrand, king of the Southlands, and he surrenders himself to Adar, right? And then he's like, listen, Adar, I have information that you might want. Basically, he tries to trick Adar into thinking that he knows where Sauron is and that Sauron is back. And he does this in order to manipulate Adar into getting his army together and preparing his army to siege Eregion, because he knows that he's gonna go to Eregion. So basically he tells Adar, you know, I'll tell you everything I know about Sauron. Galadriel's working with Sauron now to make rings so that she can control you guys. I think that they're in Eregion. Let me be your spy. I'll go to Eregion and I'll figure it out. Halbrand's plan that relied on Galadriel being a moron we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. So Sauron goes to Eregion. He kind of feels the water. You can see him feeling the water. He's like, what did Galadriel tell you? Celebrimbor, what do you know? What have they told you? And then he realizes, oh, they've told you absolutely nothing. That's great. Awesome, perfect. You should let me back in. And also, I'm not really Halbrand. I'm really Anatar, a emissary from the Valar, here to teach you how to help you make rings so that you can save all of Middle-earth. We need rings for the dwarves, we need rings for the humans, and rings for the elves. I'm gonna help you do it. And Celebrimbor gets manipulated into believing him. And so now they're getting ready to make rings. So that's what's going on with Halbrand right now. And that kind of covers where Celebrimbor is at too. Now let's catch up with Galadriel. I feel like I said her name so poorly. I'm so sorry. So, at the end of the last season, Galadriel has just had Celebrimbor go ahead and make the rings without being honest about what she's discovered in regards to Halbrand being Sauron. But at the Galadriel, and so, Celebrimbor makes the rings. He doesn't know that it's Sauron, but Elrond gets a inkling, hey, something's not right here. So this season opens up with Galadriel. She is chasing Elrond all the way between Eregion and Lindon on a horse. This is important. I think you guys should keep this in mind. So the very first time that you see her, they're just, I mean, as if it is effortless, as if it is no problem at all. They're just racing all the way on their horses from Eregion to Lindon. And so when they get to Lindon, Elrond outraces her. He gets to Gil-galad first, the king, the high king of the Noldor elves, right? So then Elrond's like, listen, she knows something's going on. We have to destroy these rings. And Galadriel's like, no, you don't understand. These rings are our only hope. These rings can restore our realm and heal our tree. And the High King is basically like, Galadriel, shut up. Who is it? And she's like, and he's like, Galadriel, tell me who it is. And so she's like, oh, he is no man. Which I'm still mad about that line. Admits that it's Sauron, finally. Understandably, both Gil-galad and Elrond are super, super pissed. This makes them super angry. But they have a disagreement because even though it is Sauron and, you know, these rings have a threat upon them to have been under Sauron's control potentially, Gil-galad thinks it's worth it to try to use the rings because he doesn't want to abandon Middle-earth. If they don't use the rings, then basically the elves all have to leave back to Valinor, and they will just be abandoning Middle-earth to be completely obliterated by Sauron. He's not ready to do that. Elrond, however, is ready to do that because he feels deeply in his heart that using these rings, no matter what, is playing into Sauron's plan, and he doesn't want to use them. So he runs away with the rings before they can use them. He goes and confides in Círdan. So we get to see Círdan for the first time. Círdan the shipwright. He never touched him, says the person who watched him touch them. No! It hurts. It hurts. Okay, so he meets Círdan. Originally, they have like a pretty nice interaction. Círdan is like, hey, listen, if you're resolved on this, you know, I see your father in you, and okay, yeah, I'll take it out to this chasm and I'll destroy the rings for you. Elrond's like, heh, 2 thumbs up. So then Gil-galad is like, well, that sucks, and they're all getting ready to depart from the Grey Havens when all of a sudden Círdan comes running back, and he's like, wait, I actually looked at the rings, and now I feel like we could actually use these, and I think that is the right thing to do. And then the rings end up getting distributed. And this is canon. They go to the right people at least. Círdan, Gil-galad, and Galadriel end up with the rings. But now Elrond is so freaking mad. He's so mad about this because he thinks it's a terrible decision, and he is laying the blame on Galadriel. And Galadriel at first like kind of seems like she feels like embarrassed and kind of brought down a few notches, especially I would say in the first 3 episodes. She really does feel like she's reflecting on her ways, and Elrond is not just being a ring hater, he's being a Galadriel hater. He is bearing into her and not giving her any excuses, and Gil-galad's being a little nicer, but they're both still really, really, like, they're letting her have it, as she deserves at this point. Also, they're like, okay, we've got to send letters to Celebrimbor immediately because Galadriel, you didn't tell Celebrimbor, so now he's in danger. He needs to make sure, we need to make sure he knows that Halbrand is Sauron in case he tries to pull something. So pick our slowest horses for this. Now, at first, it does seem like they just sent one group, but later on, Galadriel does clarify. She says that they haven't gotten a response from any of their letters. So they have apparently sent multiple letters out to try and get to Eregion, but of course they're all being intercepted, and so none of them are actually making it to Eregion. And because they haven't gotten notice back, Galadriel's like, okay, I think we need to go to Eregion and make sure everything's okay. And now all of a sudden, even though she did not care about Celebrimbor enough to tell him before she left, now all of a sudden it is like life's goal, I gotta go save Celebrimbor, we've gotta go to Eregion no matter what. Okay, now remember, they got from Eregion to Lindon really easy, apparently, on their horses, a short little horse ride. But now it's like a big deal because there was a bridge that connected them. Now the bridge has been destroyed. So now it's going to be this huge, difficult trek in order to make it all the way from Lindon to Eregion. Elrond gets sent as the leader on this mission. Galadriel has been demoted. This happens in the 4th episode, and all of the character development that you think she's about to have kind of goes out the window because she gets like really bratty about it. And then immediately they do that thing that I hate in media where it needs a character growth moment, and instead of letting them have it, they send them on this mission where they're like, you should listen to me, I'm right this time, I know I was wrong last time, but I'm right this time, I'm right. And they're just as determined and just as curt and just as selfish as they were before, only now this time they really were right. They were right this time. And so she's right in saying that they needed to go in a certain direction because the other one was dangerous. The direction that they do go into, they meet Barrow Wights. And the show gives us kind of a weak explanation for why Barrow Wights are there in the first place. But they meet Barrow Wights, and many of her party dies. Then they get waylaid by orcs. Galadriel stays behind in order to fight off the orcs. She gives the ring to... Yes, Barrow Wights in the Second Age, yes. Everybody's confused. Everybody's confused. And so she gives the ring to Elrond. Elrond takes him and his small party. They're headed towards Eregion, and Galadriel has been captured by Adar and the orcs, who are very clearly preparing to march upon Eregion because they think Sauron is there. We do. Didn't they also craft the elven rings first? Yes, as of right now, the only rings that they have crafted are the 3 elven rings, which is, in fact, the opposite order. That is not how it happens. They make the rings, then they make the 3 elven rings, and then Sauron makes the 1 ring in the canon. But they did make it out of, not elden rings, elven. Elven. So that's kind of what's going on with Galadriel. So that's kind of that plot point. Now I should talk about Durin. Which Durin? Which Durin? That's right. I have to explain which Durin because there's 2 Durins in this for some reason. I don't know why they decided to do that. Because it shouldn't be able to happen because Durin should be reincarnating. So you shouldn't be able to have 1 and 2 at the same time. But we're gonna check in with the Dwarves of Khazad-dum. So they use, this is actually cool, and this is actually canon, like based off of canon writing. But the dwarves use these like what do you call it, like sunlights? So there's openings in the mountains and then they reflect the light into the mountain in order to grow agriculture under the mountain. Yes, sun shafts, thank you. And so the dwarves are the only good part of the show. I do like a lot of stuff that they do with the dwarves, I'm not gonna lie. So Durin has had a huge fight with King Durin, his father, and he is on the outs now. So him and Disa are arguing because Disa thinks that they should make up and that this isn't good. And also the sun shafts collapse, and suddenly all of their usual tips and tricks like stone singing aren't working for them to be able to find safe pathways to mine in the mountain, which makes it really dangerous. And without their sun shafts, they can't grow agricultural either, and so now they have a food shortage. So this is a pretty big problem, and that's about when knock 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 comes a letter from Eregion, and this is Celebrimbor inviting Prince Durin to come and see him. And when they meet each other, he tells Prince Durin that if they can get more mithril, then they can make them rings of power that can then help preserve their home. It could help basically fix their problems with the mountain. And so Prince Durin takes this back to his father. They do end up making up. He is actually very suspicious because he kind of questions Anatar, who is there, a little too much. And he gets the sniffs that something is wrong. Anatar, and this I like. This feels canon to me. The dwarfs should be a lot harder to get under his influence. They should be harder for him to manipulate in that kind of way with flowery language and such. So he's not really having it. But they're just in a desperate time. So King Durin basically agrees. So they're going to give Celebrimbor mithril, and Celebrimbor in return is going to give them rings, so that they can protect Khazad-dum. So that is what is happening with the dwarfs. I guess we'll go to Numenor now. Who do I even talk about in Numenor? I guess Farazan. I feel like he's the only one that matters right now. Yeah, we'll make this one about Farazan. Why not? So, back in Numenor, Muriel's father has died, and so now they have a succession issue. Muriel should become the next queen of Numenor now that her father has passed away, but since a lot of people died in the war when they allied with Galadriel and fought in the Southlands, a lot of the Numenorians are feeling not so happy with Queen Muriel, or Queen Regent Muriel. Yeah. Time for our Farazan the Golden. How did they... Farazan himself, I think, has been okay so far, but I think they're really butchering just everything with the Numenorians, and we will definitely be touching on this later. But basically, Farazan starts pulling some strings, finding some ways to sow doubt within the people. Apparently, they already at this place in time hate the elves. I'm going to talk about this again later because I don't like it, but we've already jumped forward. Numenorians just hate elves already. And so Farazan reveals that Muriel has been using a palantir, and they're all horrified by this. Absolutely horrified. And they don't like it. Then one of the great eagles comes to visit the inauguration, and Farazan is able to manipulate the crowd into thinking that the eagle is there for him instead of Muriel. And so basically Muriel is about to be taken off of her throne, and Farazan is about to take over. And then it looks like he has wings. Oh, wow. Yeah, so that's what's going on there. So I guess the last people we need to really check in with are Isildur. Nope, I'm lying. And we have, oh my gosh, they have too many storylines going on. Why are there so many storylines? I can't with this show. Okay, so we're gonna check in on Isildur. And so Isildur, everyone thinks that he is dead after the battle in the Southlands, but in reality, he did survive. He gets captured by what seemed to be the spawn maybe the children of Shelob? Perhaps he gets caught by spiders, but his horse, who refused to go back to Numenor without him, comes and saves him. Then he's trying to get back to his father. He ends up running across a girl. I don't remember her name. I don't like her. I don't think she matters. I'm not even going to talk about her contributions to the story because it's just so boring. But he meets a girl. Okay, anyways. He also meets Arondir, the elf. Arondir, if you guys remember, was on guard, was one of the elves who was guarding over the Southlands because the people there in the past sided with Sauron. And so now he's been appointed to make sure that they're not doing really bad Sauron things. Of course, ironically, the second that bad Sauron things start happening, the elves stationed there leave. But that's a first season problem. We're not even going to talk about that. But Arondir meets up with Isildur, and they realize that the Numenorian army has gone back to Numenor. Gosh, the whole plot line is so nothing. I can't remember, it starts with a P where they go. But they go to, I think it's one of the port cities that Numenor used to control. And now I forget what the name of it is. It starts with P, but they go there and they meet up with Arondir's adopted son. Not Philadelphia. Pelargir, thank you. Pelargir. What's the son's name? The one who found the Morgul blade. Why do I always forget his name? Theo, thank you. Meets up with Theo. Theo's going through it because his mother has died. His mother has died because the actress quit. Yes, that is correct. The actress said she wanted to focus on different things with her life, and so she did not come back to the show, so they had to kill her off. So she's dead now. Yeah, she's dead now, and her son is going through it because of that. And there's kind of some division there because there's Southlanders who are trying to be good, and then there's Southlanders who are allying themselves with Adar and the orcs because they don't want to be killed. And then I think they also imply that there's just like people native to that area too, but I don't remember. Or I couldn't tell for sure. Anyways, so there's conflict there. And they are burning forests and stuff, the orcs and some men, and they upset some ints, an int and an int wife, and they kidnap Theo, and they're like gonna kill him. And then Arondir talks to the int wife and is like, I'm sorry, bruh. And the int wife is like, okay, I guess. And then they leave. It's a little more poetic there. I do like, she has a line about how long, like, forgiveness can take an age, I think is what she says. Which I do like that, kind of. But this whole moment, I'm going to talk about it more later because it really did not hit well. But they leave, and that's kind of where this storyline has been left, unless I'm forgetting anything. They just fix the situation with the Ents trying to kill everybody. And so that's where they are. Now the last one. This one is the last one for real. Now we have to check in with the stranger. If I think of another one, I'm just gonna pretend I didn't. There's no other characters in this show. I can't go through another plot line. All right. So the stranger still does not know who he is, but he knows that he is meant to travel east. And so he has gone with his halfling companion, the Harfoot Nori. Through some shenanigans, another Harfoot, her best friend Poppy, end up going with him. I really hope he's not Gandalf. I really hope he's not Gandalf, but they keep doing things that make me worry that it's Gandalf. He needs to go to Rune, but when they get to Rune, they realize that they are being hunted down by these masked figures, and it's dangerous. They end up having an altercation. The stranger cannot use his magic well yet. He can't control it, so he ends up defeating some of the masked riders, but he also ends up getting him, Nori, and Poppy separated. So now they're separated from each other. Nori and Poppy end up in a settlement of stores, which is another halfling, another halfling community, because that's what we needed in this show, more halflings. So they're there, and the masked people suspect that they are hiding Nori and Poppy, so they've threatened them a little bit, and that's kind of where we've left that. They give us some lore about how the Harfoots were originally stores. It's hard for me, I don't always say that right. And they left to go find a paradise where they could build whole homes in the ground. They could live in holes. You guys see where I'm going with this? Basically, they went to find the Shire, but they never found the Shire. They just kept walking and walking and walking, and that's how they became the Harfoots. Okay, I mean, whatever. So, that's where they are. The stranger is now wandering around. He finally finds like the stars that he's been looking for, and it leads him to who else but Tom Bombadil. He meets Tom Bombadil. He gets stuck in a tree. Tom Bombadil gets him out of the tree. He's like, oh my god, you can do magic. And Tom's like, and yeah, that's kind of where that plot line has left. This is supposed to be a comedy show. You know, sure. Why not? Let's think so. You guys like Tom Bombadil, right? We're gonna get into Tom Bombadil. Oh, we're gonna get into Mr. Bombadillo. Okay, but for now, that's our plot points. This is roughly what has happened in episodes 1 through 4. Now I'm gonna catch up on all these super chats that I did not read. I just wanted to make sure I got that out of the way. Happy Thursday, Runie! Excited to see you get heated talking about this show again, though I'm wondering if... Oh wait, I already read this one. A Rings of Power watch-along? Truly your most evil idea yet. Trying to nostalgia bait at every turn. Oh my gosh, you have no idea. Not only are they nostalgia baiting with like huge plot points that don't make sense, they're also doing really silly things. Like at one point, Isildur has escaped from the spiders. He's trying to get back. He passes through this like marshy area, and there's a dead body in the marsh. Oh my gosh, there's a dead body in the marsh. It looks like the dead marshes. It's not, clearly, but it looks like it. And then he steals the man's boots and goes on. I'm like, is that really at least little nostalgia baits like that don't slow down the pacing of the story all that much, or don't like completely ruin the canon and make no sense with the timeline, like including the Barrow Wights does. But it still gets annoying when you put it all together. Happy 6 months, Runie. Ah, you've bloomed. Happy 6 months, thank you. And Paul Artist, thank you for 7 months. Can you really call yourself evil if you're generous enough to find pros in Rings of Power? I'm evil. I think that is evil in myself, in itself. finding the pros is an act of evil. We all know you loved Orc Baby 2.0, right? We're gonna talk about Orc Baby. The show made a bold choice to put lead in the limbus. Also, where there's a whip, there's a way. Cover win. I should do some, in all seriousness, I should do some Lord of the Rings or Hobbit covers. You see an orc woman and you see an orc baby in this show. We're gonna talk about that. So now let's go over our cons. What time is it? Oh my gosh. It's already been 40 minutes. Oh gee willikers. This is not gonna be good. Okay, let's just make this small. The preamble was 10 out of 10. Thank you. I'm hoping that giving that context will then make the rest of this go a little bit faster and make a little bit more sense for those of you who did not watch the show. All right. I don't have these in any particular order. So I'm just gonna go through these cons as they came to me. The first con is needing reasons for the rings. Hold on. Let me make this to the left. There we go. So what I mean by this is in the original, the elves don't make the rings because they are fading, but it's happening a lot slower than they're implying it in this show. They're not at a point where they have to leave all of Middle Earth. Unless they make these rings. They're absolutely not at that kind of place. In fact, making the rings is really more kind of a vanity project. It's one of those things where like they can, and it's gonna make them powerful, and it's gonna make their realms more beautiful for longer. And so that's why they want to make the rings. It's not this like do or die situation. And it's also the same with the dwarves. Like the dwarves just, I mean, do we need a reason for why dwarves would want powerful, beautiful rings? You don't, you really don't. They just, they were given the rings and they were like, thumbs up, sounds awesome, right? I don't like that this show feels a need to give them reasons. So it's not just that they want these rings. It's like they're in a rock and a hard place. And the reason that I don't like this is because I do think that it really hurts some of the theming that Tolkien had in this story, which is basically like their hunt for power, you know, their vanity projects kind of led to disaster. It was something that Sauron was able to take advantage of. He was able to see those things in them, deceive them, and take advantage of it in order to, you know, weave his evil and take power, right? And I like that idea. I like that, and I think it really feels cohesive with the themes of all of Middle-earth, right? Sauron is kind of hot. I've always imagined that Sauron was hot. I mean, they say he takes like a fair visage, so I imagine he probably is pretty hot. Yeah. Yeah, Sauron, in his fair form, he should be hot. He should be. What do you mean, what? He should be hot in his fair form. Hot people are evil, checks out. It does check out, doesn't it? Yeah, I imagine Morgoth was very hot too. And then he got like uglier and more foul looking over his thousands of years of crime, his ages of crime. Wow. Dwarves have never done anything wrong, ever. That's not true. But I do love the dwarves, so yeah. Actually, yeah. They've never done anything wrong ever. So I don't like that they did this. I don't know why they felt it was necessary. I think now it's given them this like now they have to do this whole plot line with the stone singers and the sun shafts collapsing and hints of the Balrog, and they have to do the mithril thing, and they had to give the backstory between the mithril being created by the Silmaril and the Balrog fighting in the tree, which was awful and everybody hated it, and they have to do this whole thing with like Lyndon is dying. Like they literally created so much work for themselves narratively to make this happen, and I don't think that the benefit was worth it. I actually think that it just takes away from the story. So it was really just a huge waste of time, and I hate it. Moving on. Not telling Celebrimbor. I mean, they kind of wrote themselves into a hole here. Everybody was wondering what they were gonna do at the end of season 1 because it was like, how are they gonna make any of the other rings if they already know that it's Sauron? Like, that's crazy. Like, I know Celebrimbor is like a little bit into his creations, but he's not that into his creations. He's not gonna make rings if he knows it's Sauron. Like, what is gonna happen, right? And they didn't tell him. So, well, specifically Galadriel didn't tell him. All Galadriel tells him is do not treat with Halbrand, but she does not tell Celebrimbor that Halbrand is Sauron in disguise. So Celebrimbor does not know, and he doesn't even know to be on guard. Like, as far as he's concerned, Sauron is gone forever. Gone. Very important. Very, very important. And Galadriel just doesn't tell him. They don't give you a reason for this. I guess the plot did demand it. We're just have to accept now that she didn't tell him, but it makes Galadriel so unlikable. Like, I just don't know if I can forgive her because everything that is happening from this point on to Eregion is literally her fault. All she had to do was say one sentence. All she had to do was say one sentence. She was already unlikable. I was hoping in this season that she would be redeemed, but just right off the bat, they kind of ruin it by having her keep this secret for we don't know why. We don't know why. We don't know why she didn't tell him. I guess they're trying to imply it's because Sauron is kind of in her head. Like, she's not totally free of Sauron's influence yet, so maybe that's why she couldn't bring it to tell him outright, and maybe that's why she struggled to tell it to Gil-galad, but it's stupid and I don't like it. Hashtag not my Galadriel. Truly, truly. For those of you who may not know, in the original story, Sauron disguises himself as Anatar, and when he does this, they know that Sauron is still around. They don't think Sauron is dead, but they think he's weakened and like out there licking his wounds, right? So he disguises himself in fair form, and he goes to Lyndon. He goes to Lyndon, and both Elrond and Gil-galad are like, we don't know who you are, but nah, you ain't coming in here. Something stinky, right? So instead he goes to Eregion, and in Eregion, Galadriel was one of the only people who actually was suspicious of Anatar. Again, like the others, she couldn't tell that it was Sauron, but she was just a little bit suspicious. But Celebrimbor was a little more easy to trick because he was so dedicated to his work, and Sauron, obviously, actually does know things about smithing. So, you know, he was able to get in there, pretended he was an emissary from the Valar, named Anatar. All of that is canon. And he, you know, they started making the rings together. And also, this was over like a long span of time. I want to say like 1,000, maybe more years. This was not like a short amount of time. This was a very long amount of time that they were working together. So they also had like a rapport. So Sauron really did just absolutely weasel his way in there. So then he leaves after they've made the rings. When he leaves, Celebrimbor makes the 3 elven rings. These are the last ones that Celebrimbor makes. These are the most powerful that he's personally made, and he makes them completely without Sauron. Sauron's not there anymore, so he makes them behind Sauron's back. The elven rings! And then, you know, and then he distributes those. Sauron goes, he makes the One Ring. When Sauron makes the One Ring, the elves realize, oh crap, we have been duped, we have been tricked, this is no good. So they have to make the choice to not use the rings so that Sauron can't get influence on them using his One Ring. Sauron ends up launching an attack on Eregion, and eventually he is able to get back the other rings that they made, but Celebrimbor will not tell him under any circumstances where the 3 elven rings are, which are the ones, of course, that Sauron wants the absolute most. He's so butthurt by this, and he really wants those ones, and he won't tell him where they are. Yes, goes out like a Chad, survives torture and horror, ends up being killed, and then they desecrate his body as a warning to the other elves. So that's what really happens. But now the story is just completely out of order. Now Galadriel's one of the people who's like really into using the rings. I don't know. We knew that this was going to be messy by the end of the season 1 because they had messed up the timeline so much. But I just think they could have done something better than Galadriel not telling Celebrimbor. For example, I feel like she could have told Celebrimbor it's Sauron. And I'm not saying this would have been good, I'm just saying this would have been better. Celebrimbor and could have been like, girl, you've been screaming about it's Sauron, it's Sauron, it's Sauron to like everybody for years, and it's never been Sauron. He's not back, you're crazy. You know, maybe go in that direction so he doesn't really believe her. Then have Halbrand return, but have Halbrand return in a completely new form. Calling himself Anatar, he's in a completely fair form, and then, so Celebrimbor doesn't even realize that it is Halbrand. He thinks it's this new person. And then he gets manipulated. And because he hasn't really trusted Galadriel, he's not like on the lookout for Sauron because he doesn't actually think that Sauron is back. So he's not on guard. So he's able to be manipulated by Anatar. I think that would have been much better than having her just not tell him. Obviously, I would much prefer them just have not completely rewritten this entire story, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, moving on. The downfall of Numenor. I hate what they're doing here. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. They are being so lazy. That's the only way that I can describe it. It's just lazy writing. Listen, the fall of Numenor could have been a fantastic story to watch play out over, what is it, 4 seasons, 5 seasons? They have multiple seasons of this show. Like, they could have done something really cool with this, but instead they're just being so lazy. So in this case, the Numenorians just already hate the elves. And they don't really tell you why. We get one scene in the first season where they're like, the elves are gonna take our jobs, which was just absolutely ridiculous. So you don't really know why they hate the elves. They just hate the elves because the show needs them to hate the elves. Really? When in reality, guys, listen to how good of a story this is. In reality, what happens to Numenor is a very slow descent as their kings become a little more corrupt and a little more corrupt. And that corruption comes from a great desire to live. They want longer lives. And they start becoming very jealous, envious, and bitter towards the elves because the elves are immortal and they die. Even though the Numenorians do live a lot longer than other humans, they still do die, and they're wrestling with their own mortality. And in the end, Sauron manages to convince them that they need to make war against the gods in order to earn immortality for themselves, and that they can do this by working with Morgoth, basically. Morgoth is a god. If you worship him, he'll give you immortality, blah, 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 blah. That's a good story. That's a good story right there. And it's relatable. I mean, what human being watching that doesn't also kind of think, I mean, yeah, I don't know. If I had an elf buddy who'd been alive for like 3,000 years and I'm gonna die when I'm like, you know, Numenorians, what, they live to like a little less than 200. I'm gonna die when I'm like 180. Like, that's kind of not cool. I'd be a little bitter too, you know? I also declare war on gods from time to time. Me too. You guys know, that's my whole origin story. Oh, was it 200 to 300 years for the first generations? Oh, wow. That was longer than I thought. But still, it's incomparable to how long the elves live, right? I don't think that they needed to change anything in the Numenor story. They already had a really good story right there. And they could have slow dripped it in this beautiful way. We could have gone from seeing Numenor truly at the height of its power while they're still friends to the elves and loyal to the Valar, and see them slowly and slowly descend over the, 4 or 5 seasons that they have, until the end, when you see them completely betray everything that they stood for in season 1 due to the manipulation of Sauron. That would have been good, and it was right there! It was right there! It's right there! Instead, they're just like, I don't know, they just hate the elves, and like, elves do magic, and Palantir, ooh, scary. Like, that's it? That's all we're getting? And we're already getting this in season 2. Like, it's over now. Numenor's evil now, I guess. They're evil now. What? It's just really lazy writing, in my opinion. I think that they just saw the story and they were like, okay, the Numenorians have to go from like kind of being allies with the elves to like being villains near the end of the story. They have to hate the elves, and they just, by season 2, they hate the elves. That's it? Come on. They go from this bastion of civilization and goodness to committing human sacrifices to a dark god. Yes! And you can't do that in one season. No, you can't. And why would you? Because that's gonna hit so much harder later on, if you let it build. Whatever. I also, okay, wait, am I remembering this correctly? Correct me if I'm wrong. In the canon, Farazan is Muriel's cousin, right? And he forces her to marry him so that he can get the throne. I think that's what actually happens. Yes, okay. Because I like that better than what they did here. And I'm kind of wondering why they changed that plot point. I don't know if like maybe the cousin thing made them like iffy, but they could have just not made them cousins. Or I don't know, maybe they wanted Muriel to look like a strong woman. And like being forced into a marriage, I guess, would make her weak because if bad things happen to you as a woman, I guess you're not a strong woman anymore? I don't know. I mean, being blinded is okay, but you can't be forced into marriage. Okay, whatever. I just like it. I think it's kind of spicy in a way that would have added some flavor to the show. You know, like if you want to make Tolkien work for the modern audience, there's not really a lot of spice in it. More so in the Silmarillion and some of the older stories, right? But that was one line where I feel like they could have injected some spice into there, you know, if they wanted to appeal to general audiences. If they wanted to pull in like some Game of Thrones people. Yeah, modern audience. But they just got rid of it completely, which kind of surprised me. And now I just feel like, I don't know, Muriel to me is just such a nobody character right now. Flavor, spice, in my planned bad adaptation. Anyways, I think they're totally ruining this whole storyline, which really stinks because I was very excited to see this play out. Also, I didn't do some gifted memberships, so Politburo and Arthur Gumtree, both of you, thank you so much for the 5 gifted memberships each, and I'm going to sing the gifted membership song. Gifted memberships, woo! Gifted memberships today, gifted memberships today, hooray! Gifted memberships, wow! Make sure you say thanks now, gifted memberships today, hooray! And again, gifted memberships, woo! Gifted memberships today, gifted memberships today, hooray! Gifted memberships, wow! Make sure you say thanks now, gifted memberships today, hooray! And for those of you who do not know, there will be a members-only stream after this stream ends, and we will be watching episode 5 of Rings of Power together. Don't you guys want to watch it so badly? Don't you guys want to watch it so badly? Of season 2, episode 5 of season 2. But look at the bright side, Runie. The show helped expose the rampant orcophobia prevalent in Middle-earth, and now we know why letting them immigrate to Gondor and other nations would actually be a good thing. So funny that you bring that up, because I got another lazy writing orc baby. Now, this opinion might be a little controversial, so just stick with me, okay? My preference, 100%, 10 times out of 10, no matter what, is for orcs to just be evil in my Middle-earth. I like it better, I'm comfortable with it, I find it cozy, I just like it. If I'm writing it, if I was in control, we would just go with orcs being evil. That said, I don't think it is a point-blank, terrible, awful thing to do to explore the morality of orcs in a Tolkien show, considering Tolkien explored the morality of orcs himself, and it changed in some of the writings, so he thought about it long and hard. And I particularly say that it doesn't feel necessarily like, I've seen people saying it's like anti-Tolkien, and it doesn't come off completely anti-Tolkien to me, particularly because the idea of an irredeemable race is so anti-Christian. And there's so many Christian themes in The Lord of the Rings, and that was so important to Tolkien, that it's always kind of surprised me that there was an irredeemable race. But they're not being so, but that depends, because that has kind of evolved and changed. So, and Tolkien, from what I understand, did kind of play with the idea of them being like soulless creatures. But then there's also the history of them being elves that were kidnapped early on, I think before Under the Stars, before there was even the sun and the moon, and take some elves, and then in one, actually at first he was gonna have Sauron just create them, or sorry, Morgoth create them, and then he was like, no, evil shouldn't be able to create anything. So instead he takes elves and corrupts them. Him and Sauron both use their evil wits and machinations to corrupt them into the orcs. So in that case, they are corrupted elves, yes. I mean, now so many thousands of years have come by. Now they're not elves, they're orcs, but that's where they came from. That's like their origin story. And as far as the actual context in the book goes, that does seem to be the canon that matches up with the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit, in my opinion. And in the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit, I mean, they talk about having sons. They clearly have relationships with each other. They talk about betraying Sauron at points in time. So they are like beings with souls and thoughts of their own, and they make the decision to be evil every day, right? So because of that, I don't just automatically hate this idea of exploring it. I'm kind of sick of only morally gray these days. I agree, I think people are doing it too much, but it is trendy. Right now, it works in media to do a morally gray bad guy, because even though a lot of people are sick of it, the general populace must still really like it because everybody does it. So it's just trendy right now, and people do it, so they did it in this show. I'm not gonna hate on them purely for trying to explore the morality of the orcs. What I'm gonna hate on them for is doing it in the most lazy and uninteresting way possible. Because their version of, I don't know, maybe the orcs could be good people, is literally to just show an orc with a family. He's got a wife and a baby, and he doesn't want to go to war. And the writer said, we did it. We did it, everybody. We made them morally gray now. Which in reality, it just falls so flat. It just falls so flat. Yes, there were orc women, and there were orc babies. We know this. But you can't just make a loving family that doesn't fit into the orc culture in any other way and then say, okay, that's enough. We did it. It comes off very cringe, and it just comes off lazy. Like if they looked at me as a writer and were like, Runie, we want you to explore the morality of the orcs, I would do it in a way different way than that. You can't just put, and I have an idea for what I would do, because this has been kind of my thought experiment. I'm like, if I'm gonna hate on them for doing it lazily, then I should at least have my version of what I would do. Should I get into it now? Okay, well, my next point was that I didn't like the Sauron opening scene and betrayal. We're gonna do this. Hold on, let me sit down. I gotta sit down for this. We're getting serious, folks. I didn't like the opening scene. It just sucked. I don't even know if I feel like getting into why it sucked, but the opening scene sucked. This is what I would have done. At the beginning of season 2, instead of starting it right when Sauron is trying to seize control of the orcs, I would go with the storyline of Sauron repenting to Alloy? he repents. He's like, oh crap, I'm screwed. Morgoth has been defeated. This sucks. It's over for me. And he actually goes and tries to repent. And he's told that he needs to go back to Valinor and basically face his crimes. And then Sauron's like, I don't want to be locked up. I don't think he actually gets to Manwë. I think it's a Maiar that he talks to, right? But yeah, he's told that he needs to go back to, I think he's told he needs to go back to Valinor and confess to Manwë, maybe. Eonwë! Thank you so much, Seth. Yes, it's Eonwë. He talks to Eonwë. Eonwë tells him this, and then he goes back on it and is basically like, nope, I'm gonna do exactly not that because I don't want to be locked up for years. I don't want the humiliation, blah, 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 blah. I would have gone with this angle. And basically, I would have had it where Adar sees this. Adar witnesses this. And he thinks that Sauron is just gonna go back to Valinor and eventually be forgiven. So Adar goes back to the orcs and is like, you can't trust Sauron. You see, Sauron, a Maiar, can just go back to Valinor. Eventually, he'll be forgiven. You know, all of the evil men who allied with us, they'll eventually be forgiven, but there's no forgiveness for the orcs. No one is ever going to accept us, right? And that's his angle for trying to get the orcs to kind of rebel against Sauron. And I think it would be cool if it was like, the orcs were kind of like, yeah, like, let's just go pillage, let's claim like our own territory, blah, 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 like we can do that. And Adar thinks like, oh, okay, like I might be able to, you know, take control of these. And I say that purposefully because the fact that Adar is also basically just trying to become another Dark Lord, this is why it's ultimately going to fail. Because at the end of the day, even though he has better intentions than Sauron, he's still basically trying to control all of these people. Okay? But then Sauron comes back. And the second Sauron comes back, his influence over the orcs is just too strong. And all of the independence and the desire to break away from Sauron and not do all of these wars for these gods that manipulated them just disappears. And the orcs are like, woo, Sauron's back. Forget everything we knew. Sauron's back. Yeah, Sauron, we do whatever you say because it's Sauron. And that's how it should be, right? And that's when Adar makes the decision that he wants to kill Sauron. And Sauron's in a weakened state. It's after the war. So even though he's like definitely like the one who would be taking over, let's just say he's weakened. He's in a weakened state right now. Because I have to go along with the show, with how the show set it up. So just to clarify, this isn't how I would write it if I had complete, total freedom, but this is what I would do if working within the constraints of the plot that they have. So, he realizes that Adar is planning to kill him. And when Sauron realizes that, he's like, I can use this to my advantage. Because what I want is to take over Mordor. I want to take over those lands down there and make it my stronghold. But what if I manipulate Adar into thinking he's defying me? Adar takes the orcs and does all of that work for me while I pretend I'm dead and go start doing all of my manipulations with the elves. And then all I have to do is get the army that Adar raised for me to attack the elves, and it's a win-win, which I think would be a much better way to go about it, right? Because it would be a big brain play. It would really give Sauron, I think it would give Sauron more of that like master manipulator image. So that's what I would have done. And I think that still does play a little bit with the morality of the orcs, because it shows that if you were able to separate the orcs from these great forces of evil, maybe they could, after generation and generation, maybe they could eventually be redeemed. But as long as Sauron is in power, as long as he's there and his influence is in Middle-earth, the orcs are never going to be good. They're never going to choose good over evil. And that's the way I think you could have explained it without breaking the story, without being completely lazy, without being cheesy or cringe. So that's what I would have done. I do usually stand while I stream, but I just sat down. I like and agree with your point, but at the same time, I think a character or a faction that's purely evil and irredeemable can also be fun and enjoyable to root against, like Darkseid or Cobra Commander. Oh, no, maybe you missed the beginning of that, because I actually agree with you. If I had complete freedom and I could just write my own Rings of Power, I just would have kept them evil. My only point is that I don't necessarily hate them for trying to explore. I don't hate it purely because they're trying to explore the morality of orcs. I hate it because I just don't think that they did it well. If that makes sense. But yeah, if it was up to me, I just would have kept them evil. That's my cozy Middle-earth. But then how would we make Galadriel and Sauron fanfiction? Please don't do this to me right now. Zatheus, please don't do this to me. Please don't do this to me right now. Moving on. The next thing that I didn't like. Oh, here's something. What was, okay, how do I write this? Halbrand's line to Adar. I had actually completely forgotten that this had happened, but I remembered it because they show it to you in the recap right before episode 1. But in season 1, when Halbrand meets Adar in battle, he's like, "Ooh, do you remember me?" And Adar's like, "No." Which is now a huge plot hole. Because Halbrand then meets with Adar and is like manipulating him. And Adar doesn't ever think about this. Like, I'm sorry, like if somebody was trying to murder me and was like, "Do you remember me?" And I was like, "No." And then later on they came to me like, I want to make a deal with you. Like, I would bring it up. I'd be like, "Who are you? Why did you think you knew me? Like, I don't trust you, that's suspicious." But they just never bring it up. They just leave it a plot hole. But what's particularly funny to me is that I would not have even remembered this. I would not have remembered this interaction if they didn't put it in the recap. Why did they put it in the recap? Why would they do it? What? It makes Adar look like an idiot. I don't understand. But it's kind of funny. All right. Next thing I don't like. Oh, this is a nitpick. But when Sauron's trying to manipulate Adar, he tries to make a deal with him. He's pretending to be the leader of the Southlands, so he's like, "You need to set my people free because the orcs have been enslaving them. And if you set them free, then I'll help you track down Sauron." And then Adar's like, "I've set your people free." But you never see this. Like, you never see, unless I just completely missed it, you never see people being set free. And I know that's a little bit of a nitpick, but it bothers me. Like, what people? Where'd they go? If you weren't gonna show it to me, then why is that even a plot point? Anyways, I don't know. I didn't like it. Oh gosh, wait, I had this point on here twice. I brought up the Sauron taking over scene again. So I guess we are gonna talk about it. Okay. We are gonna talk about Sauron's opening scene in Murder, because I hated it enough to put it on my list twice. So we're gonna talk about it after all. I thought it was really lame. This isn't a criticism on like the actor's acting ability. I think he's clearly a very talented actor, but I think he was horribly miscast. The actor that they got for early Sauron just does not come off intimidating. He doesn't even come off charismatic. He just seems slimy and untrustworthy. Very, very poor casting on the show's part. He's not like sinister in a scary way. Yeah, he's slimy is the way that I think. Yeah, and a little bit desperate. Like, he's just not intimidating or cool. I also think, and I've seen a lot of people say this, I think it would have been better to have him, see him in his full armor right here. I don't know why they didn't have him appear like that. I don't know why they just got this other actor. But yeah, lack of aura, as the kids say. So, not a bit slim and slightly shady. Get out of here. I didn't like that. So when you put like that actor who I think was miscast, and again, this isn't a criticism on the actor's talents or abilities, I just think it was a miscast. And then you combine that with the fact that the whole scene just feels kind of weak and weird because it was lazy writing and the orcs just, for no reason we can kind of like really understand, suddenly don't want to go to war, even though that's like all we see them do at any other point in time. But apparently in this one moment they don't want to go to war. And they kill him. I just didn't like it. But then I also wasn't crazy, and this one I feel, here, I'll put a question mark by it. How do I phrase this? And I'll put a little question mark by it. I didn't like Sauron regaining his form. So for those of you that don't know, at multiple points, Sauron loses his ability to have a physical form. Basically, he gets weakened to such an extent that he can't maintain his physical form. But he is like he's like a minor god, right? So he doesn't die. He's still there, he just doesn't have a physical form. And it takes him years and years and years and years and years in order to regain the power to take a physical form again. And that's kind of the most detail that we get about it, at least that I know of. Yeah, I've always kind of imagined this very spirit-like. But the way that they portrayed it in the show, they chose to go like, yeah, he turns into inkworms. Yeah, he turns into like this black gunk that just kind of slowly grows bigger by eating bigger and bigger creatures and growing. You don't really have a form either. Yeah, you do. You have form enough. Are you complaining? Is that a complaint I hear? Wow. Good evening, miss. Hope you had a nice day today. I'm happy to see that you're enjoying the show just about as much as everyone else. Thank you so much. Thank you. But yeah, he's goo, he's a blob. It does kind of look like a discount Venom. I absolutely agree with you. So, the reason I put a question mark by this is because, to be honest, I don't have a good alternative. I know that I do not like the way that they did it. Just something about it rubbed me wrong, and I didn't enjoy it. But if I was in charge of that portion of the show, I also don't know what I would have done to portray the amount of time it takes him to regain his power, or what that would look like on a screen visibly in a way that people could understand. I don't know what I would have done. So I feel a little bad criticizing it because I don't have a good alternative, but I didn't like it. You know what? Figure it out. Figure it out for yourselves. I didn't like it. Yeah, maybe they could have gone with like a spiritual, more artsy... Goo, Sauron, and Galadriel. Please don't. No. The ecchi artists. No. I mean, if I have to see art of that ship, might as well have the goo. Might as well have the goo, right? Might as well give me the goo. At least it's fun and different. Stop cooking immediately. Galadriel! That's the ship, Galadriel. Are they unironically trying to establish a romantic interest between them? I don't think that they're actually committing to going there. I think what they're doing is straddling the line. I think that they know if they were explicit with it, that too many people would hate it. Yeah, it's ship baiting, but they're putting just enough in there for casual fans or people whose first experience in Middle Earth is Rings of Power. They're putting like just enough in there for those people to be able to enjoy it as a ship, because that fosters community and growth and money. So they put Galadriel. Yeah, but what I will say is there can be a humongous disconnect between the show writers and the people controlling social media. So you can't always take what the social media people are posting as like gospel for what's happening in the writer's room, because those departments aren't always connected at all. At least they didn't turn him into a vamp. They could have. He can be a vampire. Sauron has been a vampire before. Why not? Why not do? At least that's canon. At least it's happened before. You know what? Make him a vampire. Make him a werewolf. Why not? This show costs $1 billion. Oh my god, I'm so sad. That's so much money. That's so much money. There are vampires. Yes, yes, yes. I'm not gonna lie, if they gave me $1 billion, I would use that money on something else. Alright, what else did I not like? Oh, the boring girl plot. I can't remember her name. It's like Edith or something. This is just so pointless. It's so pointless. I don't know why they're doing it. It's so incredibly uninspired and boring, and nobody cares. But they introduce this new female character that is clearly supposed to be love interest for Isildur. You know, but she's lying to him because, you know, she's pretending to be one of the good people when really she pledged her life to Adar so that she didn't get brutally murdered. I don't know if I'd say she's a Mary Sue even. She's just a nothing. Like, it's just so boring. Like, I feel like you meet her for like 1 second and you're like, okay, yeah, I see her entire story already and I don't care and I'm not interested. I don't know. I don't know why she's there. I don't know. That's all I got to say. I don't like it. Okay. Oh! Okay, tell me if this is a nitpick. because I want to try not to nitpick this show. But at one point, Arondir, Annie Sildor, and the Boring Girl defeat this like tentacle monster that like came up out of the mud. And they're like, oh, what is this? And Arondir basically is just like, oh, there's all kinds of foul things that live in the deep depths of the earth. He basically quotes Gandalf because it's like another nostalgia bait, right? But here's what I don't like about it. I mean, I don't like that, but here's what I really don't like about it. Is that Arondir then, and it's supposed to be a joke, which is not funny, he like has a piece of the meat and then is like, they're like, what is this? And he's like, it's dinner. And I just don't like it. And I'll tell you the reason that I don't like it is because one of the things that I have always really liked and felt fond of with Tolkien is that when he describes a foul creature, they are foul. They are absolutely corrupted inside and out. They smell bad. They bleed ichor. They're disgusting. And an elf would not eat one. An elf would not eat one! Maybe it's a nitpick, but I don't like it. Says who? Says me! I says it! I says it! You're just describing a durian. Not the durian hate in the chat. They are literally made by the actual devil who is real and just on the other side of a giant door. So crazy. I don't know. I didn't like it. Change it, take it out, think of a better joke. Tomato, 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 tomato. That's how I feel about that. Instead of Galadriel, they could have had a Game of Thrones style story about after the Numenorians captured Sauron and the fall of Numenor. I was kind of talking about that earlier. Yes, they could have had a closer to a Game of Thrones style story. Like, I wouldn't have wanted them to go full Game of Thrones because that's so not Tolkien. But it could have like gotten closer to that than like what they're doing here, which is just trying to like force romance and spice where it like doesn't belong, like between Galadriel and Sauron. Or this boring girl that they brought. So, yeah. I agree. They could have done more interesting things with this. All right, what else did I like? Oh, here it is. Here it is. He sucked. He sucked. He sucked. I really try not to do this because I think it's mean. But in this case, I do think it's partly a fault of the actor. I don't think he was very good. I think the actor that they got was not only miscast, but I don't think that he had the talent necessary to play any character in this show. He was so extraordinarily awkward. The way he moved felt unnatural. When he's just standing there, he feels uncomfortable. He just didn't fit into the scenes. He did not command his lines or attention. He had no charisma. I think it's partly direction. I think it's both. I mean, it's 100% does have to do with direction too, but I could also see them trying to direct him in a good way. For example, you see him kind of like pittering about. He's moving from one side of the cabin to the other side of the cabin, which I actually think is a good direction for him. I would do the same thing. If I was directing a Tom Bombadil, I would be like, you need to be going, fiddling with things, fixing things, always on the move, like just bouncing around the room as if you're filled in every inch of it at all points in time, right? I think that's a good note, but this actor just couldn't do it. Like the way that he moved around and fiddled things just lacked energy and character. I think he's not a character actor at all. Let me just say that. Maybe he would be better in a more serious role, but they did not get a character actor for Bombadil and it needed a character actor. I also think he might have felt uncomfortable maybe because they clearly put this like fake belly on him, which is also weird to me because just hire a fat person. There are fat actors. Just hire a fat person. Why are you doing this? I can't think of a single good reason for it. Like, there's no way that they couldn't have found a jolly fat man who can sing and act. There's just no way. There's no way that they couldn't have done that. So instead they put this awful looking, yeah, like mall Santa belly on this guy. It looked bad. I see a lot of people saying Jack Black, but I do think somebody like Jack Black would have been nice. Like somebody who just has that kind of personality, charisma, you know? Like you need a big personality. I'm not saying you have to go out and actually get Jack Black or another well-known actor. I'm just sure there's a lot of people who can do it. There's so many talented people in the world. There's just no way that they couldn't find someone better who could have done a better job. There's just no way. There's no way. Runie needs a big man with a big personality. For my Tom Bombadil, yes I do. Yes, in fact, I do. Magna. I think that he was a horrible Tom Bombadil, and I hated every moment of it. It was literally physically painful to watch. Magna! Congratulations on your Magna! I didn't like it. The singing too, they promised us. Do you guys remember in interviews where they promised us that Tom Bombadil was going to sing? And then the singing that we get is like, it's like half whispering, half singing, mumbling under his breath. It's not jolly. It's not happy. It doesn't make you want to dance. It's not full of life. It's not magical. It's just like, that's your Tom Bombadil? I hate it. He can still sing, but he should have come in singing. In my opinion, if you're gonna do such an iconic character and such a beloved character like Tom Bombadil, you need to come out with all stops and do it right away. And from everything I've seen from promo material, it just seems like Tom is going to get more serious as this show goes on, which I just don't like. Why are they doing it? Why are they doing it? I think by far this is the thing that they have executed the worst. Because even though they've completely botched Galadriel's character, at least the actress is very beautiful. I think she's gorgeous. I can, like, looking at her, I'm like, oh yeah, I can see Galadriel in her. The writing in the scripts is terrible, but at least it looks like her. The person they got for Tom Bombadil doesn't even look like a good Tom Bombadil. I don't know. No, it's not the... No, it's the same lady from the movies. Get out of here. Okay, she is a little short though. It would be nice if she was taller. Sorry, I've been drinking a Negroni, so I'm getting sweatier as the time goes on. Sweatier and angrier. You're asking too much from a small indie studio. Oh, I'm so sorry, Amazon. I'm so sorry I'm asking way too much of you. I'll make a second one for the watch along. Don't you worry. I wish I hadn't lived to see the show. I wish none of this had ever happened, Frodo said. So do all who live to see such times, Gandalf replied. But that is not up for us to decide. All we have to decide is what to do with the time we are given. Well said, well said. I'll grab the popcorn. I'm telling you, I really do try to give as much grace to the actors as I possibly can, because I do think that the vast majority of the time it is not the actor's fault. But in this case, I do think it's partially on the actor too. I just think he did a bad job. So, I didn't like it. Moving on. Okay, I'm just gonna put these together. Barrow Whites, Ints. This kind of goes with Tom Bombadil as well. The entire 4th episode is just... I can see where they got... I can see where they got the idea. They were like, oh, we have this whole section of the Lord of the Rings books that didn't make it into the Peter Jackson's films. So why don't we take that and put it in our show? So fans of the book who were really sad that they didn't get to see it in live action can be happy that they can see it in Rings of Power. Except it doesn't belong in the Rings of Power. The Barrow Whites, I mean, they give an explanation for what's going on, but it just feels so shoehorned. The Barrow Whites shouldn't be there in the Second Age. The Ents, they could be there. They absolutely could be there. I'm not necessarily mad that they put the Ents in there, but they just did it once again in such a lazy way. They were just like, ooh, there's Ents. Come look at the Ents, right? And it just feels like such a nothing scene. Like they come in because they're mad. They have this lackluster, not well-written conversation with Arondir that makes you feel absolutely nothing. And then they leave, and my guess is they're probably not gonna come back. And then it's like, okay, so you just did this because fans know what an Ent is. And that's why you wasted all of this screen time? And then the same thing with Tom Bombadil. They could make Tom Bombadil was there. So he was somewhere there. He's been there forever, right? So they could have put him in there, but then they're literally using exact lines from the book, but in this completely different situation and time and age that just makes it feel so awkward and clunky. Like you can tell watching episode 4 that it doesn't feel right. I'm not gonna lie, like as much as I hated all of these things that I'm talking about, I still found episodes 1, 2, and 3 to be relatively watchable. Like I was like, okay, and when I finished episode 3, I was like, all right, I'm ready to watch episode 4. But you get into episode 4 and you get the Barrow Whites and you get Tom Bombadil and you get the Ents, and it's like, so clunky. It just doesn't fit. And I really feel like all storylines just kind of zoomed to this awkward halt. It was completely unnecessary. And here's my other thing, is you know what? Fine. You want to put your nostalgia things in here. Fine. But at least do them well. At least do them well. If you want to put the Barrow Whites in the Second Age, then do it so well, make it such an epic and beautiful fight scene that really elevates the story that you are writing and feels like it belongs, and the pacing is good, make it so amazing that even though I know it doesn't belong in the second age, I still have to say, okay, but you know what? It was cool and it was awesome as hell. But did they do that? No. If you're gonna put Tom Bombadil in it, at least do Tom Bombadil well. At least do him well if you're gonna put him in there. And that's why it ticks me off. I'm asking too much from Amazon with a budget of $1 billion. They should have spent that money on the writing room. Spending $1 billion on the show for it to be relatively watchable. This world is so sad. Alright. What else did I hate? Oh, here I just have written the stores. And then I have written entirety of episode 4. So I've already explored why I hate episode 4. I also don't like the stores being there. I was not happy to see more halflings. They've always felt like they don't really belong in this. We'll see where it goes. But I don't think it's gonna go anywhere well. After seeing this, I don't want the children of Hurin, I can't say his name, Turin and Hurin, or any first age tales. That's what's so depressing, is like, I at least thought that I had the other side of this, right? The WB, right? Warner Brothers. I at least thought, okay, maybe Amazon screws it all up, but like if Warner Brothers does it, it'll at least be good, right? If we got like Peter Jackson's team, if we got Philippa Boyan's, you know, at least that'll be good. But after seeing the trailer for War of the Rohirrim, I don't even know if we can say that's true anymore. I guess we'll wait for final judgment until we see it, until we see how these new movies go on with like The Hunt for Gollum and stuff. But like all of that being considered, I think I might agree with you. Like if people can't do it right, then you guys know. My cat's scratching something. What are you scratching? Hey. Hold on. I have to get my cat. What are you doing? Stop it. Now you guys know how much I love Feanor. I love Feanor. I would love to see a story involving him come to the screen, animated or live action. I would love to see Beren and Luthien. I would like to see Hurin and Turin. I can't say their names, but I would like to see them. But if it's gonna be like this, then maybe I don't, actually. Feanor did literally everything wrong. Okay, listen. Listen. I'm not saying Feanor was right. I'm just saying I like him. A wonderfully complex character, and Amazon would make him a one-dimensional nitwit. You know, you can't call Feanor a guy failure. No, you can't call him an elf failure. No! The moment I just completely was like sold on Feanor is at the end of his story, when he's dying after fighting Morgoth, his mortal enemy, and he, I think it's actually the dragon, right? The first dragon that does him in, if I remember correctly. Anyways, he's like talking to his sons, and he's like, I ain't gonna make it. And then he literally just like bursts into flames and just like he perishes and like into ash, which I think is so good. Am I remembering incorrectly? I thought he fought I could be mixing it up. There's a lot of fights against Morgoth and the elves in the First Age. But anyways, the important part is how he dies, which I think is awesome. Oh, was it a Balrog? Okay, I got it wrong. It was a Balrog, not one of the dragons. All right. What else did I like? I mean, dislike. Oh, there's so much. Okay. I've kind of already said this, so I'll make it quick, but I really didn't like how it looked like maybe she was gonna stop being like such a butthole. And then episode 4 comes around and she's like, nope, she's still an entitled butthole. And she's gonna be right this time, so maybe she didn't need to grow or change at all, at any point. I didn't like that. I hope it doesn't continue in this direction. Let's see. Oh yeah! The Sauron's experiments plotline? Where he was experimenting trying to bring orcs into the unseen world. Did they just drop that? Is that not a thing anymore? Oh my gosh. There's so much in episode 4 that I hate. In episode 4, Galadriel just like heals with her ring magic an arrow that's gone all the way through this dude's body. That's too much. That's too much. You know, as you do. I didn't like that. I feel like that was too much power from the ring. Yeah, it was literally a force healing moment. It was, unfortunately. Now, if it was rune magic, she could have done it. Because you guys know, rune magic, very, very powerful. But that's not what she was using. Oh, ugh. Hold on. I'm writing a quote. You guys can't even see it. Hold on. Oh gosh. What happened? I ran out of room? Did I actually? I can't make it bigger? What? I'm being silenced. Okay, I guess I'll just duplicate it. Oh wait, if I do that, then it's just gonna... Okay, wait, can you see the whole thing on this one? No? They hate me. Hold on. Now I have to do all this. Let's see, outline it in, I don't know, this color. And make it 20. Wow. to continue things that I did not like. This quote. Galadriel says, "Go back to the shadow." Again, they're quoting Gandalf. You are gonna hear the pros. Oh my goodness, we might just have to start the show a little bit later than I intended. But we are gonna hear the pros, because I'm almost done with my faults. Yeah, go back to the writer's room. Oh my god, I'm gonna lose it. Hold on, I need to finish my drink. Pro is Runie rants about Rings of Power. That single Gandalf quote to Frodo is better than this entire series. I actually do think that they've had some good dialogue here and there, but for the most part, the dialogue's really bad in this. It's either like they're not trying at all or they're trying way too hard. Every now and again, they do it right. Alright. What else did I not like? Oh, this emphasis on names. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm definitely not a Tolkien lore master. But I feel like they're doing a lot of emphasis on what the stranger's real name is, which felt kind of out of place to me, because I feel like a bunch of the characters have multiple names. I mean, Gandalf is also Mithrandir. Like, everyone's, they got like... And then also the story itself has been translated into English. Like, even names like Sam and Frodo, those aren't their actual names. Right? So I'm not really sure what this emphasis on names thing is. The true name, is that a concept in Tolkien? It might be. Like, I could be absolutely wrong and this is a concept that's come up before and I'm just forgetting it. But that's something that stood out to me, that I'm just not sure where this is coming from. But it's making me nervous that it is going to be a like reveal. Like, if they're making so much of an emphasis on what his name is, it makes me feel like it's got to be a name that we recognize, right? Which I don't want it to be, because I don't want it to be Gandalf. Oh, okay, this is the last thing I'll say. Prince Durin doesn't have calluses? He goes to the mines and he gets made fun of by the other dwarfs for not having calluses on his hand? A dwarven prince? Are they thinking? Did they think for even 2 seconds about whether that makes any sense at all? Even if he's not working the mines, in season 1 we literally see him do a stone breaking competition against Elrond, where he's going ham on those stones. And he doesn't have calluses? Yeah, he just has really good skincare. Anyways, that was stupid. Not to be crude, but that was stupid. and I didn't like it. Yeah, also too, like why do they suddenly not like him? They all liked him before. Why are they trying to make the other dwarves make fun of him? I don't get it. Like, I don't know what their thought process is. I can't blame them for not wanting to watch this. I can't right now. Okay. Wow. Either very durable hands or just poor writing. I wonder which one it could be. All right, babes, we've got it. We're here. We're gonna talk about some positives now. We're gonna end this on a positive note. Do you trust me? No, I have some pros. I do have some pros. The first ones I'm gonna write, okay, Celebrimbor, Elrond, Círdan. The actors for Celebrimbor, Elrond, and Círdan are killing it. No notes, no complaints. I might not like some of the writing decisions, but like I think those actors are absolutely stunning. I literally have no complaints. I think they look great. I think they're extraordinarily talented writers. I'm enjoying, like, anytime there's a scene with any one of these ones. I should also, you know what, I should put Prince Durin on this too. And I'll put Disa too. I'm enjoying them. I just think they're great actors. I like the way that they're playing the roles. I like every scene that they're in. I'm okay with Gil-galad, but I don't know if I like him so much to put him in my pros. You just like the actor of Círdan. I mean, I do. I like the actor that they got for Círdan. Now, let me preface this by saying I don't know any of these actors, and I've not seen them in anything else. No, that's a lie. I've seen Elrond's actor in one other thing. So I'm not coming in here biased, like I just already really liked the actor. This is my first experience with almost all of them, and I just, even if I don't like all of the writing choices for these characters, I think acting-wise, I really enjoy what they're doing, and I like watching them cook. I have super enjoyed Elrond just biting into Galadriel this season. It's one of the things that makes it still watchable, because even after Galadriel technically being right about the Barrow Downs, Elrond still is just not having it. There's a scene where she's like, take the ring, da-da-da-da, and I'll sacrifice myself, and I'll, like, you know, keep the orcs off your trail. And then another elf is like, wow, Galadriel's sacrificing herself for us. And Elrond's like, no, don't get it wrong. She's sacrificing herself for the ring. So I enjoy that. I mean, he's being stubborn, and there's been a few times where I feel like he might give in to Galadriel. There's this one moment where she's like speaking to him, and she brushes his cheek, and she's like, can't you understand? And Elrond's like, girl, get out of my face. He's so done with her. Which is one of the only things that makes how terrible Galadriel is in this season bearable. That's true, she is his future mother-in-law. Oh my god. You guys, this is so wild. This is so wild. So yeah, I want to talk a little bit about the actor Charles Edwards, I think his name, Charles Edwards, that they got for Celebrimbor. Perfect casting. I think he's perfect. No notes. Even though I think the writing has unfortunately put Celebrimbor's character in a place where, like, he does look a little bit stupid. I think the actor's nailing it. And I do like the scenes that he's in. If Celebrimbor is in this scene, I like it. And even with this scene, like, with Celebrimbor and Anatar's reveal, I know a lot of people have some issues with it, and I obviously have issues with it too. You guys heard me talk about this for 2 hours now. But I do kind of like that scene. I've watched it multiple times. I don't know. I like it. It feels like a horror movie. And I just think that Charles Edwards is eating. I think he's doing such a good job as Celebrimbor. And I like it. So that is a pro for it. I'm excited for every scene that he's in. And I'm really excited knowing what's inevitably going to happen going forward. I'm really excited to see this actor just absolutely go through it. Because I think he's going to do a fantastic job. So I'm looking forward to those scenes in the future. Unworn Owl! Thank you so much for the 5 gifted memberships. What the heck? Thank you! Oh. Did you like the title drop part the most? I don't know how I felt about that. I think it was campy enough that they got away with it. It was campy enough that I was like, dang, Celebrimbor's he's gonna be the Lord of the Rings, you guys. Gifted memberships, whoo! Gifted memberships today, gifted memberships today, gifted memberships, wow, make sure you say thanks now, gifted memberships today. I said it. So yes, I like all of these actors and I like watching them. Okay. Okay, for what it's worth, they had to come up with some way, somehow, to explain why Celebrimbor is now going to make less powerful rings. Because that's something that I know not just me, but a lot of people were like, why is he going to make weaker rings now? Like, he's already made the best rings that Celebrimbor will ever make. Now he's gonna make less powerful rings? And how is that going to be climatic? Right, because they got the order wrong. But I do actually think that as far as they messed up the lore, they can't go back, season 1's happened. As far as like trying to make it make sense for season 2, I actually don't hate what they did. And what they did is basically it's Anatar convincing Celebrimbor that he's been sent as an emissary and that basically he's trying to be like, the gods want you to help the creatures of Earth, the children of Iluvatar, whatever. And so he's gonna make rings to help the dwarfs and he's gonna make rings to help the humans. But he's not going to make them as powerful as he made the elven rings because they can't be trusted with that amount of power, which does make sense. Originally, the elves were making the rings for the elves. I don't think the elves would have made those rings for the other races. And if they were going to, they would make them weaker. So I did think, as far as like trying to retcon the story and make it make sense, I thought that the explanation that they went with this actually does make sense. And I'm okay with it. I mean, I'd rather them just make it in order. They could have just made the rings in order, but they didn't, and they had to explain it, so I give them this. Okay. Sauron scheming. Now, as you guys know, I think they could have done a much better job with this. I've already detailed a few of my ideas for what they could have done this season to make Sauron seem more like a schemer, a messy bitch who lives for drama. I think they could have done better, but at least they're trying. I see them putting in a concerted effort to make Sauron feel like he has his little fingers dipped in every little pot. And I do appreciate the effort. I see the effort. and I do appreciate it. You can see him testing the water with Celebrimbor to try to get information. You can see him manipulating Adar to do exactly what he wants. And I do think he's being set up to do some pretty good manipulation once he gets captured and brought as a prisoner to Numenor. So I'm glad that they're going in that direction. And it's nice that they're making him evil. I worried that they were going to try to make him redeemable in some way. But this season they said, nah, he had a chance to be good, and nah, he's being evil. So I like that. Oh, Sauron with the puppy. Yeah, I liked that. With the warg, no complaints. I thought that was cool. Him talking to the warg in black speech, I thought was cool. Taking control of it, I thought that was nice. I liked that. Makes sense to me, felt right. Was a cool scene. I liked that. Gil-galad's song. Isn't a warg like an evil wolf? Yeah, they're basically like evil wolves. Yeah. That's a good way to explain them. Gil-galad's song. When they think that Lyndon is going to die because the rings have been destroyed, Gil-galad sings a song, and I thought it was nice. I liked it. It sounded pretty. Great singer. It fit the mood and tone. I'm happy with it. No complaints. Would listen to it. Okay. Now I have a problem with this scene because I'm confused as to what was happening. I guess the Barrow Wights were out in the middle of the day and they dragged those dead bodies of the elves into their graves or something. I'm a little confused over exactly what was supposed to be happening there. But there's a scene where you see these dead elves on the ground and it goes really slow and it's got this creepy music, and then these chains that are wrapped around them like slowly drag the dead bodies off screen. And this is before you've seen the Barrow Wights. As far as like implications of what's going on in the scene, I'm not sure if I'm 100% behind it, but what I will say is the scene itself looks cool as heck. It looks awesome. It was super creepy, very, very cool. Exactly, I didn't understand it, but it looked awesome. I liked the way that it looked. Definitely good horror movie vibes. It makes me want to see it in a horror movie. And I liked it. Moving on. Oh, the R rolling. I've been so frustrated recently because I've been trying to do the R rolling thing that all the actors do, especially the actor that plays Galadriel. Every time she says anybody's name with an R, they like do this like, yes, they do this tongue roll. Especially the way she says Celebrimbor. She's like, Celebrimbor. Celebrimbor. I don't know, Sauron. Celebrimbor. I don't know. See, the way that I say it sounds really stupid because I'm terrible at doing it, but I do really like the way that it sounds in the show. And it's not just her, like everybody does it a little bit. I just think she does it a little bit thicker than the others, but I like it. It's a con for you? I don't know, I like the way it sounds. Like when Sauron's like, you can call me Anatar. And then Celebrimbor's like, Anatar, Lord of Gifts. I don't know, I like it. It sounds cool to me. Does it sound like I'm purring? It doesn't sound like they are purring in the show. I do a really bad job of replicating it because I'm not good at it. But I like the way that it sounds. You guys don't like it? Oh man, well it's a pro for me. I enjoy it. It makes me happy. Yeah, Runie is just purring, purring. Alright, what else? Next. What else did I like? I came around to this. The first time I watched it and Celebrimbor went, you know what? I'm opening a first age bottle of wine. I was like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Get me out of here. That is so stupid. That's stupid. And then when I watched it the second time, I was like, you know what? I kind of love it. You know what? I kind of love it. Bring me a first age bottle, Runatics. Bring it to me. We're celebrating. It's so bad that it's good. It's camp. It crossed the line into camp and now I can't hate it. I can't hate it anymore. I love it. Bring me a first age bottle. Yeah, so stupid it became brilliant. So good. And then he knocks it on the floor. He wastes it. That's from the first stage, you crazy. I'm almost done. These are my last two. I've already talked about this one a lot, so I don't need to emphasize it much more, but Elrond is the #1 ring hater. Elrond is not about these rings. And I agree with him. In the context of Rings of Power, the way that they were made, those rings are sus as heck. And I think that they shouldn't use them either. Elrond is right. He is absolutely valid to feel the way that he feels about the rings. And I love watching him. I love watching him hate on the rings, and I love watching him hate on Galadriel, and I hope he just does it more and more and more. And I can't wait for him to call up his bestie, Prince Durin, and have them both fight against Sauron and Aragon. I'm very much looking forward to that. Justified entirely, it would have made more sense to use them if they got the order right. Exactly! And even then in the canon, they don't use them because they know it's too dangerous. If I'm remembering correctly, they don't use the rings once Sauron makes the one ring. They don't use them until, they use them before, and then when he has the one ring, they don't use them, and it's not until he loses the one ring in the last alliance of elves and men, right, that they use the rings again, if I remember correctly. Elrond, 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 Sauron, Mordor, Mordor, Anadar, Anadar. It's so good. Runie, Runie, Runie Roos. I want that actress to say my name. I wonder if she'll, oh my gosh, do you think she'll open like a cameo or something? I want to buy, sorry, my cat's on my screen. I want to buy a cameo from the actress who plays Galadriel to say my name with that rolling R that she does. Oh my gosh, I would make it my ringtone. The one Runie to rule us all. Okay, and then here's the last things that I do is theories. Something I'm enjoying about the show right now is that there are 2 theories that I really like that could still come to fruition. 1, blue wizards. And 2, Theo being a ring wraith. Now, these are tentative pros, right? Because we don't know for sure if this is going to happen or not. But there are 2 theories of ways that the plot could go that I actually really, really like. Now, you guys have known for a long time I've wanted the stranger to be a blue wizard. I also think it could be cool if he was Saruman, but I also really think it'd be cool if he was a blue wizard. And I can't take credit for this because I can't believe I didn't think of this myself. I feel so stupid. I didn't think of this myself. But I was watching a review from Nerd of the Rings, which is one of my favorite Lord of the Rings channels. You should definitely check him out. I think his name's Matt, over on Nerd of the Rings. And he was like, what if they're doing the 2 different endings for the blue wizards? So if you guys don't know this, Tolkien, we don't have a definitive answer on what the blue wizards were doing. In one account, the blue wizards fail their mission. They descend into darkness and they create evil cults over in the east. And in another version, they actually work against Sauron until the very end, and it's because of them that Sauron wasn't able to have big enough armies to overpower everyone in the War of the Ring. Like, if they had not been there doing all of their work in the east, then Sauron would have had bigger armies and he would have been impossible to beat. So those are the 2 different accounts of blue wizards. So either blue wizards do what they're supposed to do and are successful to the very end, or they get corrupted. And so Nerd of the Rings suggested that maybe it could be both. Maybe they are exploring both routes. We're getting a good blue wizard and a bad blue wizard. And I think that would be cool. I actually think that would be cool. I'm totally behind this idea. As we know, we do have a dark wizard in this season. I wish I didn't have to call him a dark wizard because it sounds lame, but he doesn't have another name right now, so he's just the dark wizard. I would love if he turns out to be a corrupted blue wizard, and then we get the stranger as the good blue wizard. That could be good writing, so it won't be the case now. I'm excited for the potential of this idea because I do think it could be really, really fun. I think it's cool. I disagree with you. I actually don't think it's lore breaking because we don't have a definitive answer on what they did. It's kind of a sandbox. You can kind of explore it. And I think kind of playing both angles is actually really cool. And I don't think it's lore breaking at all because we don't have definitive lore. And either way, it doesn't, like, having one be a good blue wizard, and one be a bad blue wizard wouldn't have any effect on, like, the timeline or the other storylines, right? It's just a fun thing that you could explore in the East. The East in general is kind of a whole playground you could just have a lot of fun with. Were they not there until the Third Age? I might have forgotten that if that's the case. Did they get... is that true? I thought they got there first. Am I crazy? I thought the Blue Wizards got there before anybody else did. Like before Gandalf and before Saruman, before Radagast. I thought they were the first ones sent. Am I crazy? I'm definitely, like I said, I'm not a total expert. I get things mixed up sometimes, so I could just be wrong about that. They were the first ones sent? Okay, they were the first ones sent, but they were sent in the Third Age. Or they were there in the Second Age. Well, regardless, I think it would be cool. I think it would be cool, and it would be very fun. I also still stand by the stranger being Saruman. If he has to be a wizard that we know, I think it would be cooler for him to be Saruman than for him to turn out to be Gandalf. Just because, I mean, Gandalf said he didn't go east, so like, why are you doing this? But as I've told you guys before, I think it would be fun to have Saruman's story begin with hobbits and end with hobbits. It's kind of poetic. So if it has to be one of them, I would rather it be Saruman. Saruman did go east. Stranger is Saruman and the Dark Wizard is Gandalf. Please don't. Please don't. The Dark Wizard, I think, has to be a blue elf. I don't know who else it could be. The other reason I like it being a blue elf for the Dark Wizard is because it makes the cult stuff all make sense. In the first season, I felt very confused by the women that were stalking the stranger who like burst into moths. I just didn't know what was going on with them, and it felt very strange. And I was like, I don't get this. I don't know what they're doing with this. But if it's a cult from the east, suddenly it does make a lot more sense to me, because we do know in the evil timeline that they did start cults. So these are just crazy cults. Oh, did I say blue elf? Sorry, I meant blue wizard. Sorry. Feminem? Oh my gosh, she does look like Eminem. I agree that they've put a lot of bait down to make us think that it's Gandalf. I hope it's all exactly that. I hope it's just bait. I hope it's just red herrings and it's not actually Gandalf, but we'll see. The main reason I will be mad if it's Gandalf is because then I feel like the only reason that they sent him east is to make us think that it wasn't Gandalf. And I'm like, are you really gonna go so far as to send him to the one location that he specifically says he does not go, just so we can't guess that it's Gandalf, so that you can surprise us? Are you gonna break the lore so you can surprise us? It would be really stupid. It'd be a gray herring. No, that's good. Yes. Oh. That's how I feel about that. Oh, I typed this wrong. Another theory going on right now that I've seen people talk about is maybe Theo will become a ring wraith. If Theo becomes a leader of the surviving Southlanders and then eventually becomes a king of Southlanders, but we know that he has a connection to Sauron now because he found the Morgul blade and he's got the scar on his arm. Maybe in the coming seasons we could eventually see a descent where he ends up getting a ring of power and becoming corrupted. I think that would be cool. That would be cool to see. It's not based totally on nothing. I think people are kind of grasping onto the fact that, you know, he already has a connection with Sauron. Morgul blades were created in Angmar. Oh my god, wait. I think I forgot that. That's right, right. Yeah, why did they even have a Morgul blade? You know what? Rings of Power, what? I'm trying so hard. I'm trying so hard. I just don't think it would have been all that difficult to make this a good show. It's a good story. No, I'm gonna leave it on there because I still think it would be nice if it happens. But anyways, those are my pros. The only passion is the love for money. Money ruins everything! Money ruins everything! Money ruins art. I think TV shows in general have been written really poorly lately. Like, just the writing is just abysmal. Why? know there's talented writers out there too. That's what also hurts me, is behind every bad movie and bad TV show, there is an original script, screenplay that was really good. That was really, really good. And then it just gets picked apart and edited and smashed together until it is bad. Uploaded to AO3. I'm so serious though. I guarantee you there is Lord of the Rings fanfic. I've never read Lord of the Rings fanfic before, but I guarantee you there is Lord of the Rings first and second age fanfic on AO3 that is better than Rings of Power. I have no doubt in my mind, because fanfic writers cook sometimes. They really cook. It's gotta be out there. You know what? That might be the difference. It's the passion for the source material. It's that loving the source material so much that you just dedicate your free time to writing a fan fiction about these characters that you love. Yeah, it's written by fans. That makes sense. That absolutely makes sense. AO3 Lord of the Rings stream next. No, when I do an AO3 stream, it's gonna be me writing that Zorro Perona fanfic that's living in my head. It's living in my head and I need to get it onto paper. I have this whole idea. I'm gonna write it and I'm gonna make you guys read it. Should we do an AO3 Lord of the Rings stream? I feel like that would be dangerous. Someone already said it, but we are gonna have to weed through the yaoi if we do that. It's gonna be a lot of Legolas x Gimli. Oh, and Sam and Frodo. I didn't even think about that one. Should I bring in Merry and Pippin? Probably. Not Gollum and Sheila. I would read that. I would read that. Sam and Frodo. I see where they're coming from, but I prefer them as friends. There's something about their relationship being platonic that makes it so special and wonderful to me, that I wouldn't want to think of them as a couple. I feel like that takes something away from me. I mean, I don't really care what you ship. I literally could not care less. But just for me, I like thinking of them as friends. Gandalf and Sauron. No, Gandalf and that Balrog. No, Gandalf and Saruman. Ooh, it'd be so spicy. No, it's Saruman when Gandalf's captured. Gandalf is at the mercy of Saruman's power. I'm cooking. And that's, wait, oh my god, no, I'm not gonna say that, it's too dirty. Wait, I'll type it. It's too dirty. It's funny, and oh my gosh, I think of dirty jokes so infrequently. can't even type it. I can't say it, I can't type it. Just know that I thought of a dirty joke, and it is funny, but I'm not gonna say it. Nope. Goodness. You know, I actually didn't go as far over as I worried that I would. It's only 9:32. I'm trying to think of other cursed ships. Feanor and Morgoth. Haters to lovers. Bard and Smaug. Denethor and Aragorn. I don't know that one. Okay, Celebrimbor and Sauron. Celebrimbor, Anatar, Sauron. Actually, yes. Can see that one. You know what? Can see it. Not Galadriel and Sauron. No! You still have time to stop this train of thought before you go full Fujoshi. It's too late. I'm thinking about Celebrimbor x Sauron right now. It's that extra layer of betrayal makes it so good. Cause it's like, ah, oh, not only did you trick my mind, but you tricked my heart. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up, and this will be the last thing I do on stream. Archive of our own. Can you browse if you don't have an account? I hope so. Yes, I agree. I consent. Search. Tags. Okay, fandom. Lord of the Rings. J.R.R. Tolkien. Do I have to specify? You know what? Here we go. Okay. Okay. Celebrimbor? Will that come up? Wow. Oh wait, type character. Here we go. Character. Celebrimbor. Why is it not coming up? I don't know how to use AO3. Someone help me. Amy! Amy, help me! I don't know how to browse the site. Help me! Okay, let me just... Fandom. Okay, search. Why is it saying nothing is found? Work search? Okay, work tags, fandom, Lord of the Rings. J.R.R. Tolkien. Here we go. I found the right place. Hold on. Okay. Rating. Mature. Categories. Male/male. Characters. Celebrimbor. Would it be under Anatar or Sauron? Anatar? Doesn't come up. Okay, Sauron. We got it. 27! Wait, let me find the actual tag. Let's see. Okay, yes. Celebrimbor / Sauron Myron. Okay, if I click on that tag, Okay, wait, I got a lot more. If I click on that ship tag, I get 791 works. Oh my god, that's actually way... Oh my god, that's actually... I need to know how far back this goes. This goes back to 2013. Ooh, somebody got a briefcase. Thank you for the tip, thank you. Runie pretending like she died, don't have an account. AO3 is a little too new for me. You guys know I'm old. I have a fan fiction account. Some of these are going to be as a result of Lord of the Rings. Oh, that's right! I forgot you guys were telling me there was a game that had Celebrimbor in it. Haglove, Haglove, Haglove. Oh my gosh. This one's in Japanese. From April 2013. In Japanese. Celebrimbor / Sauron. Including major character death. Rated mature. Wait, oh my god. Should I pay to get this translated? Should I go on Fiverr and get this translated? Oh, actually this might be Chinese. Yep, I'm a liar. This is in Chinese. Wow, incredible. You know what? I can't get, I'm about to go down a rabbit hole. Yeah, I'm gonna get, wait, can I send this? Whenever I send this to Sakana and I ask him if he can translate to, it's only 1,351 words. Sakana, I need you to translate this for a stream. I need it translated, please. Sakana, please. Please, Sakana. I think we should scroll through these together. 791 works. Holy bazonkers. We're gonna, you know what? Let's go through this together one day. Maybe a members only stream because it might be spicy. It might be too spicy. We'll make it a members only stream. Are you scared? Don't worry, I'll only hurt you a little bit. Runie trying to recreate face manner. Alright. Alright, that's enough of that. There's enough of that because we have a whole other stream to do. Oh my gosh, wait, and I totally forgot. I almost forgot I have a gift for you guys. Wait. There we go, there we go, there we go. I am an emissary from the Valar. You may call me Anatar, Queen of Gifts. And I have brought you a gift. Can you guess what sweet, sweet blessings I shall bestow upon you? Perhaps something you have been waiting for quite some time. Perhaps something I promised you on an evening long ago. Perhaps it has just been pinned in the chat. That's right. I bring you the one, the only Runie! Oh gosh, she's so big. Wow. There you go! The art piece I commissioned is finally completed. Back when I was still lame. So lame and silly, and I was totally not sexy or cool or mysterious at this point in time. Very good thing I've changed. Runie, my beloved. Thank you for the super silver. Wow. So pure, so demure, so cutesy. You're not lame or silly now, no. I, Anatar, Queen of Gifts, am mysterious, mature, sexy, and evil. Wow. And it's so cute, so full of innocence. The art is cute too. Hey! The Runie is real! I need to know more about her. Well, unlike other productions, you shall get the Runie lore drip-fed to you. All shall love her and despair. Yeah, exactly that. Alright, I can't believe I almost forgot to do that. I would have been so upset. But there's your gift. There's your gift. Okay, so. But now, let me take that reverb up. But now it is time for me to say farewell. It's bittersweet. But I gotta go. Unless you're a member. Because if you are a member, then you guys don't have to say goodbye to me quite yet. Because right after this stream, actually give me a few minutes because I'm going to take Hellhound out to pee. Wow. And get another drink. And then I'm going to come back. We are going to watch episode 5 of season 2 Rings of Power. Yay! Everything I'm mad about will certainly get fixed. It certainly won't get worse. Right? Oz and Nandiro Nanaya. Thank you so much for the 5K demersions. Thank you. Gift memberships, who? Gift memberships, they. Gift memberships, today, day. Gift memberships, wow. Make sure you say thanks now. Gift memberships today. Hooray! Gift memberships, who? Gift memberships, they. Gift memberships, today. Gift memberships, wow. Make sure you say thanks now. Gift memberships today. Hooray! Thank you guys so much for the gifted memberships. Thank you. All right. Thank you guys for letting me talk about Lord of the Rings for almost 3 hours. Sheesh, jeez, always. Thanks. I definitely had a lot of fun. And I'm excited to see what episode 5 has in store for us. We're already halfway through the series, so let's see. It's not the first time and you do it again. Mwah. Mwah. Almost as long as the original trip. Shut up. Alright, I do have to go now, but you guys can see me again on Saturday. I will be streaming at 2 p.m. a collab with my senpai Tenma. We are playing We Were Here Forever. And then later that day, I will be having another collab on my other senpai's channel, Rie, on Hime's channel, along with Miss Lumi. So you'll get a double dose of Runie on Sunday. Unless you're about to watch Rings of Power with me right now. But alas, yes, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. PST. All right. It's bittersweet, but I must say farewell. Give glory to the runes, for my love and affection is forever with you. Bye-bye.